At this time, we will hear from the legendary Mr. Rick Cockrum, who has worked in the field of legislation and government for over 20 years. Rick currently represents the Environmental Defense Action Fund, where he previously served on the Indianapolis Parks Board as a City County Council appointee and was named the chairman of the Department of Natural Resources by Governor Mitch Daniels. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Rick Cockrum.
Thank you. Well, it is exciting to be in this facility, and when you think about the job opportunities the Congressman's mentioned, if you think about just the public buildings alone in this congressional district, what kind of workforce it would take to make every building in the city, every public building, and indeed even the private sector, as efficient as this building. You're talking about thousands and thousands of jobs. Congressman, it's a pleasure to be here with you today to discuss this matter that affects the city, our state, our country, and our world. Thank you for keeping Indianapolis beautiful, for opening your doors. I really look forward to the tour of the facility later this morning. That's going to be fun to see. We have an impressive panel today to discuss climate change, energy policy. We're going to focus on economic development, job creation, as we address climate change and global warming and how the policies can intersect and be positive for Hoosiers. You will hear from Jean Farison, the Indianapolis Chamber of Commerce, about business opportunities for Indiana companies. Pete Remsen, Associate Director of the Indiana State Building and Construction Trade Council, will discuss job opportunities under federal policy to address climate change. We have Bowden Quinn with the Sierra Club, who has an environmental perspective, and the Honorable Greg Porter. Representative Porter has a unique viewpoint in that he's the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Education, and he's also an executive with Marion County Health and Hospital Corporation. We also have a number of experts and dignitaries in the audience. We look forward to hearing from you as well. And lastly, we will be open for questions and answers and comments after the panel makes their initial comments. I first discussed this issue with the Congressman many months ago when he was a candidate for this office. I was very impressed with how quickly he grasped the significance of this problem, and his passion and interest is even more evident today. There are many reasons to address climate change. Creating millions of jobs is just one of them. We have in this country, we have over 700 fishing and hunting clubs that have signed letters asking for congressional action. These are people who are out in the natural environment every day and are witnessing the negative impacts of global warming. We have a statement signed by over 800 mayors asking for federal action. We have ministers and religious groups are weighing in. We've had dozens of admirals and generals have signed a letter asking for congressional action on climate change because, quote, it's a serious national threat. We have coalitions of business, labor, and many other groups working toward this. Candidate Carson grasped all of these concerns, but one of the areas that he was most interested in then and now, and that's how can we improve the environment and create good paying jobs while doing so. His questions focused on a lot of what we are discussing here today. And that is, how do we tap into the great American know-how to develop and expand technologies to reduce our dependence on foreign oil? And how do we tap into that great Hoosier work ethic to put our workforce in position to grow jobs that will be created? We're going to hear from the panelists today. And the first one we're going to hear from is Bowden Quinn with the Sierra Club. Bowden?
Thank you, Rick. I'm going to talk just briefly about climate change and what we know about it. I'm not a scientist. You don't want a scientist to sit here and talk about climate change because the scientists will talk about the questions, what we don't know. And there's still a lot we don't know about climate change. But there's no serious dispute that human activity is causing an increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which is starting to have a significant effect on our climate. Just this week, Thomas Finger, the chairman of the National Intelligence Council, said U.S. intelligence agencies have accepted the consensus scientific view of global warming, including the conclusion that it is too late to avert significant disruptions over the next 2 decades. So there's really no dispute that we have to do something. What we don't know is how bad the effects will ultimately be, what exact form they will take, or what concentration of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere that would actually be safe. We know enough to be sure that it is in our interest to immediately take steps to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, particularly carbon dioxide. Luckily, some of the technology we need to do that is already available. As the Congressman talked about, we have wind and solar power generating electricity, geothermal heats our homes, biofuels can run our cars, and more technologies are being developed. One important step is a new electricity transmission infrastructure called smart grid that will greatly increase our ability to use power in our homes more efficiently and to distribute power generation across the grid. One electric company is already planning to install such a grid in Boulder, Colorado. So these technologies are coming, and these technologies will create lots of new jobs. So this is really an opportunity, not only to do something to help our environment, but to do something to help our economy as well.
Thank you, Bowden. Next, we'll hear from Jean Farison with the Indianapolis Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. For many of you who are not very familiar with the Greater Indianapolis Chamber of Commerce, we are a 4,300 member business organization representing the business interest of Central Indiana, Marion County, and the 8 county surrounding region to grow our existing business and bring new business to the area. Purely an economic development function, which is why I'm here today about green jobs. Is the membership of the Chamber recognizes that the emerging green economy is critical for our area, not just on a business sense, but on a quality of life base. Business members recognize that quality of life for their business goes beyond their bottom line. It's about clean air. It's about reducing our waste that we generate. It's all of those issues which drives their business as well. It's a recruitment issue. We're also hearing that to recruit business to Indianapolis and our region, what are young professionals looking at now? They're looking at air quality. They're looking at a business environment that supports innovation and advocates for greener or more environmentally responsible business operations. So in response to that, the Chamber created the Green Business Initiative, which works to recognize businesses that are proactively engaged in green business operations, but also recognizes and promotes those businesses that provide green services, so that our community, in our homes and in our businesses, we know where to go to get green services. Where do you go to find a LEED certified building or a LEED certified consultant who can provide those resources to you? The Chamber wants to advocate for that and support those businesses and grow that aspect of our community. We also work very strenuously to advocate for incentives. How do we incentivize businesses to do these things? How do we grow our mass transit operations to not only mobilize our workforce, but to reduce the impacts of an individual car on our air quality and environmental standards? So that's really a focus that has grown through the Chamber in recent years, and how do we want to promote that and advocate for that, because business is very interested in green. Not only is it green for our environment, but it's green, it's the dollar green for their bottom line, reducing energy. It does have a significant cost or revenue implications to business. So we want to support that and we want to grow that. And then also from green jobs, we want to grow our economy, support our workforce, recruit new workforce members, and again, support and advocate for our environment, for a healthy business economy.
Thank you, Jean. It's very exciting to have a business advocacy group that gets it and wants to be part of the solution.